Oh my. Good evening, everybody. It is Shawn and Michelle Poe here with the incredible Dr. Brett Brimhall from Arizona. We are so honored and grateful to have each and every one of you here tonight. And if you're watching on the replay, we are so excited as well that you're able to see this. Dr. Brett Brimhall has been a dear friend for, my goodness, how many years has it been now, Dr. Brimhall, since that you've been here in LifeVantage? 13, 14?
11. Say
11.
11.
Okay, time for 11 years. And what I can just tell you is when you meet somebody for the first time and you look at them in the eyes and you see them and you're like, wow, I am so blessed. We are so blessed to be in front of and connected with this human. Has anybody ever felt that? That's exactly how it felt the first time that we met Dr. Brett. And then he came here to Sioux Falls, South Dakota, where we are from, and he walked away, and I'm sure he'll share that story tonight with a mission, a huge, huge mission to go out and impact lives. And so, if you're a guest here tonight, we are just so grateful. Please get back to the person that invited you and tell them thank you. Thank you so much for thinking of me. Thank you for caring for me this much because the information that you're going to hear tonight is something that Shawn and I heard. It's wild. It's 15 years ago, just at the end of March. And it was something our dear friend had to follow up with us on several times. So if you've had to have a follow up of several times, no, we understand and get that. And again, that person just deeply cares for you. But this is something that the world deserves and the world needs. And so I'm going to tell you just one thing really quick, and then they're going to get started here. But we have the only product, you guys, that is a supplement, and you're going to hear tonight that it's called an activator, and they're going to tell you why. That is proven to extend lifespan. And it was a study done by a 10-year federally funded study in mice. And when you have that, who here wants to live a life of vitality? Who wants to get down on their hands and knees with little ones, kids, grandkids? Who wants their arms to move, their brain to work, their immune system just rocking and rolling, and this and that? So, this information tonight is something to please, please, please have your pen and paper handy because this is not hype. This is not just another thing. This is something that has impacted our lives in the greatest ways, and we pray that it does the same for each and every one of you. And the thing is it works. It all works. So I'm going to pass Shawn. Do you want to introduce Dr. Brett, or do you want me to keep on rolling?
Hey, we're good. Dr. Brett Brimhall. So, Brett, your name is a big name in the chiropractic world. You and your dad, the method named after your family. You're an educator, you're an author. You've traveled the world educating people on ways to have improved health. And the best thing about you, though, I think, is just the amazing man you are. You're such a great husband. You're a great father. You're a great friend to all of us. So please, please, uh, let's talk some Life Vantage tonight.
Hey, excited to be here with you guys tonight. And Sean and Michelle, thank you so much. I know my journey began partially with you guys. And what I want you guys to all know, I'm excited that you'll be here tonight. And if you are watching this on a replay, what I want you to know is that people are searching for something that you might have. And as I was thinking about today and what I was going to present, I had somebody come in today and they're dealing with their husband that's going through the end stages of Alzheimer's. And I kept thinking to myself, man, what do I know that I could share with them that could help them now and later? Right. What I want you to understand is we're going to talk about today a science that's a breakthrough technology that will give you your body ability to handle this world better than it currently is. Because how you feel right now, how you perform right now, how you sleep, the energy you have, the way you show up each day, the stamina, the recovery, the repair, all that is based upon how well each individual cell works by itself and how well all those cells work together. And this is no longer about what nutrient does what. It's about what is it that we can do and put together in such a way where we activate the cellular process that God put into us. So we're going to talk through some of the science, but I'm going to kind of tell my story as I go throughout the way because it's really kind of strange that I'm here and having this conversation. It's not something I ever thought I'd be doing. but it's exactly where I should be based upon what I've learned. I was born in 1974. My dad became a chiropractor in 1971. He became a chiropractor because he was injured and someone carried him into the chiropractic office, got him back walking again. And from then on, in the late 60s, he just wanted to help people the way he was helped. That's been the way I was raised. And because there were some people he couldn't help, it drove him to learn more, to where went back and got a degree in nutrition, went back, got a degree in psychology, because he just wanted to help people the way he was helped. That led me to LifeVantage, where I was working with a little guy, diagnosed it too with autism, but really he struggled in every way you can imagine. Verbally, he struggled with behavior. He struggled integrating society. They had to leave him at home. They took the other kid to Disneyland because it was just too much overwhelming stimulus. And I did everything that I knew, a system that my dad and I co-created called the 6 Steps to Wellness, doing all the things that we could to help this person be able to perform and live in this life. And he still struggled. It wasn't until a product Axio came out that changed his life, to where after he started taking it, 11 days later he came in and he had a full conversation with me, with the first time he ever had in over a year. And conversation was on point. Not only that, but he sat still, which he never did. That was the beginning of a new beginning, where something shifted in his head, where all the things that we had been doing were now able to integrate, to where his brain now can not only learn, retain, but could recall. That was the beginning of the rest of his life, because now his brain worked and performed as it should. We're going to talk about some really cool science tonight. I'm going to share my screen and go through some of this, but what I want you to think about right now is, what do you feel that you don't want? Or what is it you used to feel that you want to feel when it comes to your physical health? And what are you currently doing that's getting the results that you have? If you're happy with where you are, absolutely, I'm excited for you. I don't really care if you do what we do or not. Really don't. I do care that you show up the way you want to show up. I care that you have the energy you want. I care that you sleep the way you should. I care that you're able to, repair in the way you should and get what you want out of your health, so that you can then perform as the individual that you are, whether that's a husband, a father, mother, daughter. That's what's important to us, because if you don't have your health, it's really hard to then show up in any other way of your life. So I'm going to share my screen with you, and we're going to go through this. Now, we're going to talk about a company called LifeVantage. And LifeVantage was not on my radar up until when I saw that little boy had those results. And I flew myself with Kerry Williams out to Sioux Falls, South Dakota, to get my question answered, to meet the science that's developed to drink Axio. But I want you to know a little about the company and why this is so unique and different. Why would somebody that had been teaching and training physicians since 1995, been a part of multiple companies that were sold strictly through healthcare providers, formulations, why would he join a network marketing company? What is so different and unique about this that he would put his name behind that, where we could go out and create any product we wanted? All right, well, you're going to know by the end of this. So LifeVantage is a publicly traded company. It's a pioneer in activation, which you know a lot more what that is here in a second. We're going to show you a video. Financially sound, highly recognized in the space. Now, so it's there like that because they don't have to guess if what you're getting is real, and you don't have to guess if the company's going anywhere as far as away. We need that because this product needs to be there forever for people to have the access to this, and we need the world to know about it. Because here's our reality. We are dealing with a crazy toxic world. And even if you don't see it, believe me, it's there. Those things you can see and you cannot see. Our food supply is just damaged. So we're eating a lot of fake food, which our body weren't designed to eat fake food. And we're treating most of the problems with managing symptoms. Through pharmaceuticals, another way. We're managing symptoms. We're not understanding why are we really feeling the way we should. We do. Now, what does that lead to? It leads to you feeling like this. Low energy, burnout, brain fog, mental fatigue, metabolic struggles, and that can be like these, things you want, gaining weight where you don't want it, holding on to weight the way you should, hormonal imbalance, poor sleep, these actually looking older and feeling older than you should, and overwhelm. Whether it's a physical symptom that you see or feel, or it's a mental symptom you cannot see, it all comes down to how well is an individual still performing. We need solutions that work, that are real, that allow us to take back control of our metabolic processes. Here's the reality of what happens. When cells become damaged, they start performing poorly. When they perform poorly, you feel it in the form of fatigue. If it's a brain cell, it's going to be your thinking process. If it's a joint cell, it's going to move and creak in ways that it shouldn't. If it is a metabolic process, it's going to slow down. Now, what that leads to is a process known as aging, which we're all going to age. That's part of the life. But are you aging more rapidly than you should? And here's the problem. When cells become dysfunctional and they stay there long enough, they form processes known as diseases. It's just a process. Now, we aren't treating disease. We're going to understand, look, we want to understand what is the process going on and what's the cellular damage. Now, I'm going to have Shawn show us a video because this is going to help you understand what we have is different and unique. This is an ABC investigative report that was aired a long time ago. Okay, a long time ago in the sense of 2005, so it feels like a long time ago. What I want you to understand in science, it takes close to 20 years before something's discovered and becomes widely accepted. So you're in that beginning phase where people are starting to understand that they're not okay with the way it is. We need to have a different way of addressing it. And you're going to understand that this company is doing that. And not only are we doing it, we've been doing it for close to 20 years. So Shawn, if you would show that video to them.
Following is an ABC primetime investigative report that aired in 2005.
You want to get an edge on turning back the clock with just a few pills? Who doesn't? Well, it's no longer science fiction, but science possibility, a potential breakthrough. As I found out firsthand, there may be a way to erase years, at least inside my body. Granted, it's down the road, but some scientists are wondering if a new pill I took might offer a very long life. It may not look like the fountain of youth, but inside this nondescript building, I'm about to become part of an exciting experiment, a kind of guinea pig. Okay. I'm here at the University of Colorado in Denver.
This is pretty exciting stuff you're finding, huh?
It is. We're very excited about it.
His latest research could very well unravel the mystery of aging itself. And his decades of experiments may have the potential of adding years to people's lives and possibly prevent chronic diseases like cancer, diabetes, and heart disease. It all centers around this small yellow pill, and for me, it begins with a blood test. Oxidative stress, like the rusting of an engine, is not a good thing.
Bad for the body,
Leading to disease.
leading to disease and leading to malfunction, and importantly, leading to what we call aging. It is a slow progression of increasing oxidative stress. That's the main characteristic biochemically of the aging process.
It's called Protandim, and tests on both mice and humans have already shown that it revs up the manufacture of those good enzymes in our bodies. More enzymes, fewer free radicals to harm us.
Right now, all we know is that this preparation decreases oxidative stress. Oxidative stress is not a disease, just like aging is not in itself a disease, but it's something that accompanies and is attached to many disease processes.
Have you discovered the fountain of youth?
I wouldn't put it that way, but we may have discovered something that will tell us a lot more about how we age, what happens biochemically, and maybe how we can slow it down.
Normally, oxidative stress, measured by those T-bars, increases with age. Taking just one pill of Protandim a day reversed that trend for everyone at every age, even for an 80-year-old. But what about my progress? After nearly 2 weeks now, it's time to get my results. The result? My level of oxidative stress has declined dramatically.
45%, that's excellent.
Just look at where I fall on the graph, before and after.
Which, if extrapolated back, is the level you would see in a newborn baby.
Have we turned back the clock? Well, maybe not on the outside, but deep inside within my cells. Yes, indeed.
Now, I hope that you guys go back and watch that and take notes and really pay attention to a few things they said. But I'm going to highlight a few things that he said. All right. He talked about a process known as oxidative stress. He talked about research that had been done for a couple of decades already. This was 2005. So mind you, this process that you're learning about had been going on for a while. And they suggested it may have an impact on turning back the clock as far as the aging process that links to all these diseases. Understand this, oxidative stress, look it up on a place called pubmed.gov later on, and just see what it relates to. You have it if you breathe oxygen. How well you handle that determines how you feel in a day. So let me get okay. So here's what it looks like. And he talked that it all starts with this little yellow pill. That little yellow pill took a couple of decades to develop, and it's not the pill, it's the technology. The question that they asked was, is there a way to help the body handle the oxidative stress process better than it currently is? And remember, oxidative stress is linked to inflammation and linked to anything you don't want to have. So anything that creates stress in your body creates more oxidation. The more oxidation you have, the more problems you have, which you feel in different ways. An apple, it's exactly what it looks like. Good apple, bad apple. So inside your cells, you want the apple that looks like the one on the left or the one that looks on the right. This process is regulated through these specific genes. Nerf2 protanum turns that on. Now, why is that important to you? Because it starts with activation. You are activated or you're deactivating. There's no other option. So deactivation feels like the things you don't want to feel. Activation feels like you felt when you were younger, you're vibrant, and you had lots of stamina. That's the difference in how your cells are working individually and together. So proton nerve 2, it addresses oxidative stress, which the more oxidative stress you have, the more faster you age. This process helps your body create antioxidants, so it fights the oxidative stress, and it's much more effective, many times more effective than taking a nutrient like vitamin C. Let me kind of give you an idea of what that looks like. Here's what we can say based on the studies and the patents. It lowered oxidative stress by 40% in 30 days. All right, so think of it this way. If you could have 40% less bills every month, would you like that? What would that feel like month one if all of a sudden your bills are cut in half by 4% or even 40% more money? And what would it feel like if that happened every month for the rest of your life? Like, what would that feel like from a finance perspective? Because you woke up this morning thinking about probably somebody's health or relationships, or you thought something about finances. What's a way you could change all that? If we could reduce oxidative stress 40% in 30 days up to 70% in 3 months, imagine what that could feel like in your body over the next month, 6 months, 10 years. Now, it does that by increasing these enzymes. Look them up later. Super fun. It's the only dietary supplement that I know of that was proven to extend life in males, in male mice. Now, again, if you're a mammal, this will work in you. How are you going to feel it? I don't know. Now, it's made up of very specific herbs. It's not about the herbs, it's about the combination and how they're put together. Just like a combination lock. If you don't have the right number put in the right order, it is not going to open the lock. This is a cellular process that's there put in place by God. This activates that because it took them decades to develop it. But if you understand how to do that, you can do it much faster. So here's to give you an idea of what it looks like. So you can eat your fruits and vegetables, you absolutely should. But to equal the power that protanum nerve 2 gives in your body, you'd have to eat 400 oranges a day or 110 cups of blueberries. So it's not physically possible. And here's the reality is your world is becoming more stressful and more toxic every minute, every second, both from the things you see and you cannot see. We need a new way and we need a different way to impact our physical health better. Now, I also believe that's true in the financial world as well. So here's what we're going to talk about tonight. A way to activate your body, to empower your biology, to do the things that God intended for do. We're going to talk about ways to increase your body's production of very specific things and improve systems and not manage symptoms. That's super important. Understand if you're managing symptoms, whether it was supplements or whether it was medications, you're managing symptoms, you're not improving systems. We're going to improve systems. And we're going to do that by doing several things. We're going to activate antioxidants with NERV2. We're going to activate the mitochondria, which is your energy production. We're going to activate your neurotransmitters, which affects your brain, and we're going to activate collagen, and we're going to activate gut health. All right. Now, here's the key. Everything we do together. So we want to activate the body's natural healing process. One of the ways in which we do it, we combine specific products. This is what's called the healthy edge stack. I use it with a lot of people because most people have an unhealthy gut. Now, if you combine protanum nerve 2 with this, what's called phytopower, it would take me 8 products to make what's in this product. That's in 2 little packets you put together and mix. Now, why is that important? If you can't absorb your nutrients and you can't eliminate the stuff that's bad, you are not going to feel good. What this allows us to do is to, one, repair the gut that restores it back to normal functions. Once it's there, it can now regulate the process that's supposed to happen. Now, what does the gut do? Everything from helping you digest and break down your food to eliminating the stuff you shouldn't to activating your body's peptides. What are peptides? Peptides are messenger molecules that allow your body, your cells to communicate with each other. You hear about them, the brain neurotransmitters like acetylcholine and dopamine. Those are ones that help you. Well, I guess what? Also serotonin makes you feel happy. It all helps by having your gut function right. Now, it's really, really important. Now, we now also understand when we combine these two, we are activating multiple peptides that not only are involved with like brain and gut health, but whole body regulation. Right now, who would benefit from this? If you've ever been on antibiotics, if you've ever eaten any processed food, if you get sick way too often, if you feel like your digestive tract is always having issues, if you're alive, you need gut support. And in the past, I would have to combine, like I said, 8 different products to make what this in it. Now it's super easy. I can just combine it. This is the Healthy Glow stack. Healthy Glow is for individuals that are wanting to improve not only how they look, but how their bodies perform. Your body is made up of collagen. Anything that allows you, anything that bends, moves, or twists or stretches is made of collagen. Now, why is that important? If you feel like you're aging faster than you want, or you feel like your joints don't move like they're supposed to, or you feel like you're getting stiff everywhere, you are probably deficient in collagen. And here's the reality. Unless you eat the skin of fish on the daily, like multiple times a week, you are deficient in collagen. This is a liquid collagen peptide. What that means is you're going to absorb it and you're not going to react to it. When you combine it with Protandim Nerve 2, you get even more powerful effect, because what that means now, you're not going to get the components broken down in a small fashion that your body can absorb, and having multiple 10 different collagen peptides, you're also going to help to regulate the immune response. Unfortunately, I see way too many people with autoimmune conditions. Now, autoimmune, if you look at autoimmune conditions, these are things where your body's attacking itself. They call it friendly fire in the military. Your immune system is attacking parts of you. One of the things that was fascinating when we first started using like these products, we started having people having like their body was repairing in ways we didn't expect them to. And it was because when you combine Protandim Nerve 2 with the liquid collagen, you had an immunomodulatory effect. What that means is the immune system was able to not attack what it was attacking and start repairing the process that was going on. Vastly different. Now, here's a few pictures of individuals that have had results with that. There's even Mr. Poe on there. Yeah, he loves that picture. But the neat thing about collagen, you see it and you feel it. Now, if you want to look younger, guess what? You're going to notice some change probably within the first 2 months, just because your skin replicates that fast. But what if you've had a process that's going on in your body? Let's just say your bones are involved. They're not as strong as they used to be. Or you've had a process going on in your body that deals with some type of like immune process going on. Your body is going to take longer to repair that. What I have noticed as people have been activated for longer periods of time, things that I didn't think would actually repair are. So here's the unique thing about your body. Guess what? It doesn't care how old you are. It cares if it has everything it needs. It cares if you're putting your body in a situation where it can repair, and it can fix things that you don't realize it can fix. I've watched that happen time and time again when it comes to people that are, chronologically older, and they're having things improve that shouldn't improve based upon what I used to know about science. But I didn't understand activation before. So if you're not feeling the way you want to, or if your body's not performing the way you want to, I would start looking at, are you activating the processes that make the most sense for you? Okay. And then the axial. The axial is the activation of your brain. So now who needs axial? If you drink coffee, if you drink energy drinks, if you drink soda, if you're feeling decision fatigue all the time, or if you're on computers longer than 30 minutes a day, your brain needs activation. Now, that's not only because I want you to perform better. Here's how the brain works. If the brain can't learn something, it can't then retain it, and it can't recall it, and it can't grow it. So when you learn one concept, remember you learn another concept. For the brain can't perform and learn the first concept, how's it going to progress? So that little guy I was telling you about, once his brain started connecting dots, then he went from the bottom of his class to the top of his class to 6 months later, he started at normal school, no extra help. And now the last, close to 10 years, he's performed at the top of his grade level every year. Not because the structure of the brain changed, but the brain performance did. So if you know somebody that you care about that is not performing well, and remember, I think of mental health as brain health. So if your brain is healthy, your mental health will be better. And it's very different than just a B vitamin, right? This is activating the brain. So it's like the activation of brain processes. Now, what does that look like? This is what it looked like in my nephew. All right. This was his handwriting on the left. This is handwriting on the right. A little guy that struggled in school. He struggled in socially because the last kid, he just didn't play well with other kids. He didn't really understand the social clues like other kids did. After adding proton nerve to an axis together, that was his handwriting 2 weeks later. But he then went from one of the last kids in the class to one of the first kids in class. Not because he changed his personality, is his brain was able to process the world differently. Now, this is not for kids. It's not for adults. It's for anybody that feels like they have mental stress. So if you know anybody like that, guess what? They are using what they know. Why do people drink energy drinks and why do they drink coffee and why do they drink soda? It's because it tastes good and because it makes them feel a certain thing that they're not feeling. What if you could do it in the right way? Because here's what Dr. Bredesen says that wrote the book, End of Alzheimer's. He said, we need to be doing stuff 20 years before it shows up. As a clinician, when somebody comes in to see me, I wish I had more time to have this conversation with every single person. Look, I don't know what's going on in your family history. I don't know what's going on in your family stress levels, but I do know how you're performing is based on how well each of your cells are functioning. And you're probably already doing something about it or trying to. What if you could know what you're doing can activate your natural cellular processes as opposed to guessing if you're taking the right nutrient for you? What if you could do that? That's what we have the ability to do. It starts with yellow. What I mean by that, it starts with proton nerve 2. In my opinion, you need to start with that because that's what activates the process to get your body to make more antioxidants. And then you decide, do I need to focus on my gut health? Do I want to focus on my cellular health with the nerve 2 and the nerve 1? Do I want to focus on that performance energy or do I focus on beauty? Or if you're like many of us, do I want to focus on more? Well, for me personally, guess what? I focus on more. Now we have a whole array of products based upon what you need. But understand these are all activation based. And to kind of hopefully bring it back home to what activation is your cells working optimally all the time. And they do that based upon what they're given and the amount of stress they have. If you can reduce the stress or you can improve their performance, you're going to feel better, you're going to perform better, and you're going to do better. Now, when I had this conversation earlier today, I had to admit I had to feel a little bit of a reality check. Is am I doing a good enough job at making sure people that I have impact over, do they know the activation story? Do they know there are tools available to them from a health perspective that would allow them to take better control of the world they live in? Because they can't control everything. But am I giving them the chance to perform better and hopefully avoid things they hope they never know what they had? And I have to admit, I can do a better job. So LifeVantage has given me several things as a physician. And that is, I have an ability to hopefully help people at a higher level that I could before for those that are trusted me. But I chose to do LifeVantage as a business because I feel like God chose me to do it in the sense of there are several things that happened in my life that led me to this point, to where I was looking for a place that I could have more impact, a place where I'd be pushed from a growth perspective. But also as a dad, I was looking for a way to not feel the pressure of running a business to where I could be more fully present so I wasn't worried about finances the same way. As a clinician, as a business owner, there's a lot of pressures. And what LifeVantage has given me, because it is a network marketing company that allowed me to have a global impact, both from a education point in people's health, but it gives me a way where I can help other people around the world get healthy and make money. This company, what's allowed me to do is give me more time back with my family. Because of the way the compensation plan is laid out that I'm going to have Shawn going to share with you, it could, in fact, if you want, create what it's done for me and my family, where I built a business that works when I don't. And I always wanted something like that. And it was really because I love having impact. I love helping people. But like when I wasn't working and on vacation, I had a hard time being on vacation. I was worried about like the next payroll and the next, economy crash or whatever it might be. It was harder for me to be fully present as a dad. Um, I am grateful to understand this industry now and to the power that it can give us and where we can impact more lives. So I'm grateful beyond measure that Kerry Williams took me to meet Shawn Poe and Michelle Poe out in South Dakota. I got my question answered on the science. I am also very grateful that I had an injury to my knee around that same time, shortly after that, that made me really stop and think, like, if I couldn't practice, what else would I do? I think that was God's way of saying, look, I'm giving you this. Like, you can help people, but I'm giving you this way to help you as well. And that's when I full head into this and had a lot of help in doing it. So if you want to know both, we want more people to be activated so that they can perform better at whatever task they have. But I also want other people that are looking for ways that can create options for them and their family. So, Shawn, Michelle, thank you for the journey this is. I'm excited for what we have ahead of us, and I'm excited to get other people to understand how they might be more involved with this. So, if you guys don't know Shawn, I'll do my best to introduce him. But Shawn, amazing father, two girls, got one of the best wives out there in the world. That for him for sure. She brings the fun. Shawn brings the business. I think he can be fun sometimes. But what I watched from Shawn is he traveled all over the world with this company to help other people realize what this is giving back for giving back to him. This has got him out of corporate America, where he had choices, where he could be with his family, where he really wanted to be, and not have to go away to do work. And gave them options that they had to spend time and do things and experience life, but also have a global impact. So I'm grateful that this guy's he worked business banker. He works for a lot of years managing huge portfolios, so he understands finance. And I want you to know that the products are real from a scientific perspective, guys. They work. Number one, clinically. Number two, the science is solid. The patents are amazing. But the business can do that for you as well. So I want Shawn to speak to that because we need more people sharing this message so there are less people suffering, both from a finance perspective and a health perspective. So Shawn, take it away.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Dr. Brett. I love doing meetings with you. I learn every time something new. And, I am a finance guy, so I keep it pretty black and white on the science. I do understand a lot of these pathways, but it's basically this, you guys. Oxidative stress is bad. Reducing oxidative stress is great. If you want to age gracefully, you want a lot more collagen and you don't want it diminishing inside of your body. And the reality is this is we have this giant pharmacy inside of our bodies that is designed to work. And the problem that we have is we have all these other stressors that come into play and layer upon layer over the years just don't allow the body to do what it was designed to do. And these get the body back to the point that they can do what it was designed to do. If your gut biome is not healthy, you're going to have a challenging time keeping your overall health. And so it didn't just end with it starts with yellow, right? That's just the start. And for me, that's the baseline, right? Is what are you adding into your health strategy with Protandim NRF2? Is it collagen as healthy glow? Is it P84 with NRF2 as healthy edge? Are you going to integrate, the tri-synergizer? But just get back with the person that invited you here and kind of let them know what are those areas that you want improved, and they'll be able to give you a great roadmap for that. And I just want to take a few minutes to talk about the business side because I'm on a mission to make people understand this industry a lot better. 15 years ago, I was the guy in the back of the room, my arms folded, thinking, come on, this sounds too good to be true. But I was also thinking inside of my head, what if? What if what I was hearing was actually legit or even half true? How big of an opportunity is this? We just got off of a call with our interim CEO, who was a marketing executive with brands like Visa, Coca-Cola. Like he knows big business. And he made this statement that if he did a consumer survey today, less than 1% of the population, way less than 1% of the population would even know the name LifeVantage. You guys, that's huge opportunity. And that's what gets me so excited even 15 years later is the window of opportunity is still huge. that ABC primetime video in 2005, it still is valid today, and most people don't know about it, right? It sat on the store shelves in like GNC and Rite Aid and CVS, and it said reduces oxidative stress. Well, who is out there even in 2026 walking around asking people how they can reduce oxidative stress? It's very uncommon, and it has a voice that needs to be told, right? It has a story that needs to be told, and that's what we do on the business side of it. Is we educate people with. I was looking over all the participants in here at all the medical professionals who have locked arms with us to share the science of the product and to help people understand how it can benefit their health strategy. But I think we've been way too quiet on what this can do on the business side, you guys. And I'm very cognizant that isn't for everybody, but I at least want you to be educated enough to know where it fits in with you. It's a no-brainer, I think, that people are going to take the products, but it's just how, as a consumer, or do you want to also be a voice from the products and plug other people that you know that can be helped by hearing information like this? I was in the corporate world. I had kept going to college because I didn't know what I wanted to do. Well, I guess I wanted to be a game show host, but I kept going to college and collecting degrees. And then once I got a bunch of undergraduate degrees, I went to graduate school because I didn't know what I wanted to do. And finally, I got to the point I was like, I better stop collecting debt and just figure out a path. So I jumped into the banking arena and got my security licenses with Wells Fargo. And I climbed up in that to have an opportunity where they had bought out a mutual fund company. And I worked on the transition work of bringing that portfolio into Wells Fargo. And it was an amazing job, you guys. I loved it. But at the same time, my wife, Michelle, after our oldest daughter, Callista, was born, she started having some issues that creeped up that we didn't have answers for. And we started seeing some of the best doctors in the world, and they could rule out a lot of what it wasn't, but they couldn't tell us what was happening inside of her body. And so we were on this mission to help her. But at the same time, we had a reality in our life at that point in time that we didn't know how long she was going to live. And so we packed everything up and we moved to South Dakota. And that was the right decision for us. But unfortunately, what I was doing with Wells Fargo, I couldn't do in South Dakota. It was in San Francisco and it was in Milwaukee, and that was it. And so I switched over to Citigroup, and I was working on transitions from bringing jobs from New York City because banking didn't need to be done in New York anymore to South Dakota because we could pay people 10, 20 cents on the dollar to do the same work and automate a lot of it. But I promise you this, if I was coming into your office and sitting next to you, it wasn't good for you, right? I wasn't the most like guy in the room because I was trying to get information out of people's heads so I could document what they do and they would get fired. The last 3 years, I managed the defaulted student loan portfolio, all the collection and litigation efforts on that. But anytime anything went to court, I had to fly out and be custodian of record for Citigroup and explain to the judges, explain to the attorneys what was happening and why, we had this money that we should be able to collect from people. And guess what? When a student defaults on a loan, guess who the bank's going after? It's not the student. They don't have assets. It's whoever co-signed that loan. It's the mom, the dad, the grandma, the grandpa. That's who the bank's going after. So again, I probably wasn't the most like guy in the room, but the worst part of all of it was the higher I climbed that corporate ladder, the more time they expected me to be away from my family. When we started this, my kids were 4 and 6. And I thank God every day that they don't know me as that corporate dad. I wasn't the dad I should have been. I wasn't the husband I should have been. I spent all of my hours during the day fighting fires. And I got to the point where I wasn't even enjoying weekends anymore because I was worried about what was happening between Friday and Monday of what I would have to deal with. And it wasn't a matter of if it was something, it was how big of something it was going to be. And so we were looking for something to come out. And again, 15 years ago, I was that skeptic in the back of the room. I didn't understand network marketing, but I can promise you this, when it's done right with the right people and the right products, it's the most extraordinary way that I've done business. We've done online businesses, retail businesses. We've been in the corporate world, but this allows you to impact literally thousands of people across the world, making them better versions of themselves. And we do that really in 3 different ways. This activation story is about helping people improve their health, getting the body's pharmacy unlocked to do what it was designed to do. But it's also about that financial struggle that people talk about maybe behind closed doors that you don't know about. We're coming to an end of the month, and how many people after a long weekend that they were outgoing and having fun had to pull up to a gas pump and they didn't know how they were going to pay that gas bill on their credit card. Or if they did, if that was going to mean a sacrifice to what food was on their table for the next month. Like those are the people that I want to impact as well. The people that are saying, when is my chance? That are looking in the mirror and saying, I want my turn. I want my opportunity. And there were a lot of jobs I interviewed people for in the corporate world, and I couldn't even talk to them if they didn't have at least an undergraduate degree and some of the times a master's degree. And then I look at this profession, and it doesn't matter if you've got the background of Dr. Brett Brimhill or the degrees that I have, or like my wife who went to college for a little bit and it wasn't for her. The reality is, anybody can have success in business if they follow the same paths that others have already shown to work. And that's what we do. We educate people both on the product side, but also on how to make the business work. Unlike the corporate world, you guys, in the corporate world, I was paid more money to separate myself from everybody else. What motivation did I have to tell anybody why I was good at what I did? That would level the playing field and that would pit them against me for the next raise or promotion. And I want to break this myth. This is one thing that I want to talk to people about. My wife and I, we spent time on Capitol Hill talking to senators, talking to congresspeople about the power of this profession, but also about the myths attached to it, right? And you hear this term pyramid scheme a lot, but I'll challenge that all day long because a pyramid scheme is when there's no true product or service involved. 80% of our business is based off of customers acquiring a product they want to take, right? So that strikes that down there right away. But I'll also contend that I think some corporations are a bigger pyramid scheme, if that's what you want to identify with, than what this is. I was never going to make more money than my boss. I was never going to make more money than the CEO, right? The people at the top made the most money. I can tell you that that isn't necessarily how network marketing works. You have the same opportunity that I have. We all start at the ground level. And if you want to pour in the time, the energy, the effort to get to the top, you can. It's unlimited. There isn't one CEO in the consultant field. We call them presidentials when you hit that top rank. Every single person has that opportunity. And you can't tell me timing's bad. If you believe that less than 1% of the population even knows what the company's name is that not a huge opportunity? And I think in society, we've gravitated away from trying to fix health with synthetics. If it's possible to do it natural, people want natural remedies, right? There's a great place for Western medicine, but that isn't always the answer. There's some of both that can help. And again, that's why we attract so many medical professionals that are thinking outside the box, thinking what tools can I have best in place to help patients get healthy and have health care, not sick care, right? That's part of this mission. And the business side, you guys, when it's done right, is extraordinary. I couldn't believe the potential. If we would have had the income disclosure statement, I'll share that here in a second. But if this would have existed when I first got started, I don't know if I would have believed it. But we're a publicly traded company, and I love that being a financial analyst because it allowed me to look into the company and see what they were all about. We're publicly traded on the NASDAQ. That's a big deal. There's FTC oversight, there's SEC oversight. If there was anything wrong, they would poke holes in it and they would shut down the business. Our board of directors, we used to have Erin Brockovich on our board of directors. If you know anything about that woman, and she's on a rampage right now, I'll tell you that. And she's going after certain companies. But if she had thought anything was negative about LifeVantage, she would have never attached her name to it. And she's a huge advocate of what we have our hands on. But let me talk about the business potential here for a second, because it might be you that's going to bed tonight praying for something to change, for your chance, your opportunity for something different, something more, right? And it doesn't mean that that takes away from plan A. It could just be plan B. But what if you built it up enough that plan B overtakes plan A and you have more choices? You have more decisions. You have more time. Those are the types of things that I think people are praying for. And if it isn't you, I promise you, you have friends and family going to bed tonight asking those questions. So ask yourself, what if? Like we look at that level senior consultant one, they're earning over $316 in commissions a month, you guys. If you were to invest that and get that type of return, you would need over $75,000 in an investment at 5% to earn that a month. How many Americans truly have $75,000 in the bank? And it goes up from there. Look at managing consultant one. There's a lot of managing consultants on this call right now. You would need over $400,000 in the bank to get $1,700 a month at 5%. And I love that that's kind of a mid-level in this company. And it takes work, it takes effort, it takes drive, following the system, being hungry, being coachable. Those are things that people can have and have success coming in here. But it just goes up from there. Take a look at managing consultant three and executive consultant one. You know, that starts being full-time money for people, where plan B starts to become so valuable. You would need 1.6 million in an investment at 5% to earn $6,700 a month. And that's what the average managing consultant three is earning. Or go up one level from that, and we're starting to talk huge money, you guys. $14,000 a month. How would your life look different? What different decisions could you make or choices you could make? And we have person after person after person that have shown this system, this process, this business, this company can help you achieve that. And we're just getting started. The ranks down from there get crazy where you're talking 20, 40, over 60, 100,000 plus a month. And that's where I was saying that I probably wouldn't have believed that 15 years ago because I was that skeptical guy sitting in the back of the room. But I asked some questions. I got my questions answered. It was a public company, so I could see the transparency of what was going on. Michelle did dig into the science. She talked with people outside. But I'm telling you, you don't have to go down that path of questioning all of this because it's out there. There's over 30 peer-reviewed studies on that flagship product, Protandim NRF2. Like it's been studied. We were at a conference early on with the company and we were talking and asking questions. And this guy looked over to me and he said, "Do you think you're smarter than Harvard or the American Heart Association?" And I was like, "Well, no." And he's like, "That's where the science is coming from. It's not just inside of LifeVantage. Other people got excited about that ABC primetime video. And they were like, if this could reduce oxidative stress by 70% on average in 3 months, it's extraordinary. That would change people's health." And so they wanted to study it and they paid for their own research to validate that that was true. And over again, it was proven to be a true statement. That's what allowed us to get patent protection, you guys. You can't patent most supplement products because it's a plant, right? And you have to show that there's very specific things these do through science in the synergy, the recipe that's in those ingredients to do something very different. And that's what makes it turn from a supplement into an activator. It gets inside the body and it flips light switches back on that should be on. It turns light switches off that should be off. You're born with certain genes, but that doesn't determine your destiny. I promise you that. And every day we're having more science come out on the ability to upregulate and downregulate genes. But we're a pioneer in this space that's been doing it for decades, you guys. And it keeps getting better. So what if? What if what you hear tonight is exciting and you just became a voice and partnered with us? What could you do? What impact, what legacy could you create? That's what we want to do. And again, if it's just integrate the products in the health strategy, let the person know that invited you. But if you're thinking about the business, let's run now. For under $1,000, you can have your hands on a multi-million-dollar business and get pretty much every product that's in our product portfolio under $1,000. When Michelle and I owned an online business, we had licensing rights with like Disney, Veggie Tales, Spider-Man, Dora Diego. We had these CDs and DVDs that would interact with kids. And it was amazing. It was great. The smiles that we saw on kids' faces were so cool. But do you know what was happening between August and the end of December? I was spending about $20,000 a month on Google advertising on a $20 to $40 product. Do you know how much product you have to sell to just break even to have a couple days at the end of the month so that you make a little bit of money at the end of the month, right? And to scale it, did it like I treated it, like Michelle treated it. We were doing that in the evenings after the kids were in bed. We were doing it on the weekends. But with this, we saw an opportunity to create leverage where if we had a group of people that saw it the same way that we saw it, if we taught them the processes, how to educate others, they would find people that were attracted to it. And that's where I get excited on this for less than $1,000. How many business owners out there spent more than $1,000 to get their business up and running? I would say almost every business owner out there, right? And there's other packs to get in, but if I decided today to restart our business, this is where I would get in because I want to see how these products work for us, our family, our story, right? But you can earn money as you go. We're talking about gut health with Love Biome coming in and offering us this product. It's an extraordinary product. I think Brett at one point said he would need to have 5 or 6 bottles in his office be sold to be as complete as this one product is for gut health. And that gut brain connection is important for overall health strategy. So maybe that's what excites you. Locking in that flagship product, Protandim NRF2 with P84 is extraordinary. There's also the Healthy Glow, collagen attached to Protandim. Well, a lot of talk right now out there about peptides, right? Did you know your body makes peptides? But as we age, some peptides, we just stop producing as much of them. And we know that this product upregulates different peptides for collagen to not only help support what's there, maintain what's there, but get the body's own ability to create more. That's what's extraordinary about all of this and separates us out from the others. But again, I just want to get back to that question that was burning inside of me 15 years ago. What if? What if you just heard about something that could help one family member, one friend, one neighbor? And to me, that was it. That was it. And what it did for our family, it transformed Michelle's health. It gave my kids a dad they didn't have. It gave us choices, options, leverage. And I'm open all day long for business opportunity, I'll tell you that. But I haven't seen anything else fall into our lap in the last 15 years that's had the impact that this business has had. And that's why it attracts the people that it attracts. Because when it's done right, with the right people and the right products, it's the most extraordinary way to do business. So I'm excited about what's coming up. It starts with yellow. It starts with Protandim NRF2. And it starts with the decision you have to make after hearing this information. Because there's people we've talked to for 15 years that have heard the information and chose to do nothing with it. But I kept asking myself in my head, what if they were right and I chose to do nothing with it? You do the same thing, you get the same results. You want something different, you do something new, and you get yourself together with people that know what they're doing, and you change the world. And that's what our mission is. One person at a time. How do we make them a better version of themselves? How do we make their body healthier and able to operate the way that it's supposed to operate? How do we help that person that just filled up their gas tank and saw $100 go out of their account? How do we help that mom that wants to be home and raise her kids and not have somebody else raise her kids? How do we help somebody that wants something bigger and better, but they're afraid they don't know, they haven't had personal development before? That's what our mission is. That's why we work as hard as we do. That window of opportunity for whatever it looks like for you is wide open. Dr. Brett, thank you as always for being on here with us. I appreciate you so much. If you're on here as a guest, thank you for your time. It means a lot. Just get back with the person that introduced this to you. Let them know where you stand. Are you ready to get started as a customer, or do you want to lock arms and run with us? Because we are going to change things, and this company will look different by the end of this year. It's just a matter of how you want to participate in that. Appreciate you again, Doctor. It was an amazing, amazing night being with you. We'll talk soon. Take care, everyone.